How do we address student mental health demand when community providers are scarce and schools are being asked to fill the gap? This question follows superintendents into their sleep. It shows up in budget meetings disguised as a staffing request and in the quiet worry of a principal who just watched a teacher refer 3 students to counseling in a single week, knowing the community wait list is already months long. You see, the demand is real. The provider shortage is real. And the pressure on schools to somehow absorb both is heavier than almost anything else central office teams carry right now. I keep returning to a story that illustrates exactly where good intentions go wrong. A superintendent once described how her district responded when the nearest adolescent mental health clinic stopped accepting new patients. Families had nowhere to turn, so the natural response, the one nearly every caring leader reaches for first, was to try to become the clinic. So the district hired one counselor and handed that person a caseload built for an entire outside agency. Well, you know what happened next. Within months, that counselor was overwhelmed. Students were still waiting for real clinical care, and the district had spent scarce resources solving the wrong problem. That instinct to try to absorb a community's entire unmet need personally is where so many well-meaning leaders go astray. It is not born of carelessness. It is born of urgency and a deep sense of duty towards students who are hurting. But urgency without a clear sense of what a school is actually equipped to do leads to burnout, not progress. A school counselor is trained to support behavior, learning readiness, and short-term intervention. So asking that same person to function as a licensed clinical provider does not close the gap. It simply moves the exhaustion from the community system into the schoolhouse, and eventually the counselor leaves, taking whatever ground had been gained with them. So, the best response begins with a different question entirely, one that shifts the leader's posture from provider to connector. Instead of asking how the district can personally deliver more clinical care, the better question is how the district can become the fastest, clearest bridge a family has ever crossed toward care that already exists somewhere in the community, even if that somewhere is not around the corner. Some districts have pursued this by partnering with mental health care coordination services designed to help families navigate insurance hurdles and dramatically shorten the time between referral and treatment. That kind of partnership does not require a district to manufacture clinical capacity that it does not have. It requires the district to become relentlessly good at the handoff, the follow-up call, and ensuring no family falls into silence between the referral and the appointment. Alongside that connector role, schools offer something no outside provider can. that is daily proximity. A student does not need to see a community therapist every morning, but that same student sees a teacher, a front office staff member, or maybe a bus driver. Districts that treat those relationships as a part of the support system, not as a replacement for clinical care, but as a bridge that holds steady while a family waits, tends to see students stabilize faster even before formal treatment begins. Now, that requires training staff to notice, to check in consistently, and to create physical spaces in buildings where a student can pause and regulate before returning to class. None of that competes with community providers. All of it complements them. So, here is what I would ask of you this week. Gather your student services leaders and walk through the actual path a referred family follows, from the first conversation with a teacher to the first appointment with an outside provider. Look honestly at where families lose momentum or disappear from that path altogether. Fix that one point of friction before you consider adding another position or another program. The districts making real progress on this crisis are not the ones trying to become everything a struggling community lacks. They are the ones who have decided with clarity and humility exactly what role they are best positioned to play and who play that role with consistency every single day.